We're here to give back and celebrate iWarriors. This is our 8th annual iWarriors golf outing. Let's hear it for 8 years. What is iWarriors? We're here because of iWarriors. iWarriors was started by Kim and Tim Bartz from Moldcraft. Amazing people. Their influence and application in the industry is amazing. And they decided that they wanted to give back. They had a vision of helping our military and what that would look like. And their way of doing that was to give iPads to combat wounded veterans to say thank you. There are over 25 sponsors for this event, including Molded Marketing LLC, Punch Industry, Inco, Mold Making Technology, United Tool and Mold, Durachrome, NGN, Legacy Precision Molds, Mastic, Pulco, Joseph Motorgun Associates, Cimatron, SPE Mold Technologies Division, Reaction Plastic Solutions, AMBA, Slide Products, Standard Cutting Solutions, Chandler Tool, International Mold Steel, Falcon Plastics, and Westminster Tool, and that is... You know, if you've ever been to this outing, you know that this is not about the score, it's not about winning, it's not about any of that. Remember that you're out here for a reason other than golf. You're out here to network, you're out here to have fun, and more importantly, you're out here to give back to those veterans.
Welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance, everybody. I am your host, Tony DeMakis with Alliance Specialties and Alliance Laser Sales, where we are mold makers that don't build molds. We do all the other things that you, the mold maker, needs. We do polishing, laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, preventative mold maintenance, and we build and sell American-made laser welding and laser engraving equipment because we believe that made in America means something. We believe that it's important for a number of reasons, and we want to come see you. We want to come show off what we have and what that looks like. And so if you're in the market for a laser welding machine, laser engraving machine, we would love the opportunity to come out and demo that for you. And if you decide that we are the best option because you like the product, because it works best for you, because while it was there for a week or 2 weeks, your guys fell in love with it and it increased your productivity and it reduced your downtime and it was able to get you more stuff out. Well, when you buy a machine from Alliance, we are going to give a portion of that sale to the Tim Tebow Foundation because we believe that God's children are not for sale. And so every machine that's sold, a portion of that sale will go to end human trafficking because it's something that we believe in. We want to give back to the community. We believe in gratitude, relationships, integrity, and tenacity. And we think if we can master those things, then we can make a difference for you. And part of that is right here. It's giving back. That's what that outing that you just saw was, that little bit of ridiculousness. That is the Alliance golf outing. it is not about keeping score. If you're not a golfer, but you like to network, you like to have a drink or two, you like some food, you want to hang out with cool people, come out and be part of the outing. We don't even keep score. I mean, we have scorecards because some people like to keep score, but if I'm honest, I'm not reading a winner at the end of the night. It doesn't matter. What really truly matters is that we raise money for combat wounded veterans so that we can provide them iPads through iWarriors. It may sound like a simple request, a simple thing, an iPad. Why is that important? Well, it's important because it reminds these veterans that they didn't suffer and go to battle for nothing, that they're not forgotten, that they are remembered, and that we can give something back to them. And with these iPads, there are specific apps on there for PTSD and for helping with brain function and things like that. So it's a great event. It's a great cause. All of the proceeds for that event go to iWarriors, and iWarriors donates I think 99% of the money raised to the cause. The rest of it goes to make like hats and shirts and things like that. Nobody there gets paid. It's an amazing organization and a great event. So if you'd like to come out and golf with us or drink with us or just have fun with us, that is awesome. If you want to be a whole sponsor, that's awesome. Just go to alliancegolfouting.com and you can register there for that. And we hope to see you there. I mean, it's going to be a good time. It always is. And it always fills out. We have not missed a full outing in the last 8 years. So please, if this is something that you want to do, register early because you're not going to want to miss out on that. Let's do this. We'll go here. Yes. So September 22nd through the 25th is the National Plastics Conference, Shaping the Future Together. Why is this important? It's important because we're going to have people from the plastics industry across the country and even globally come into Florida, Orlando, Florida, for a few days of conferences and board meetings. And if you're wondering what's going on with equipment or sustainability or the process at all, you should be there and you should network and you should find out what's going on and you should let your voice be heard because you can either sit on the couch and complain about what's going on in your world, or you can grab your boots and get to work and make a difference in what that is. And today's guest is going to talk more about this. So I'm not going to go on much about that, but schedule it September 22nd through the 25th in Orlando. I think there's even some fun events that, maybe going to Epcot and a world tour and drinking across the globe. That's going to be fun. I can't wait. So come to the National Plastics Conference. We'll see you there. And then right after that, September 30th through October 1st is Boston Med Device. It's an MD&M event. It's going to be in Boston, obviously. And it's where industry leaders are coming together to find out, how do I make my product? So if you are trying to figure out I have this great idea for a medical device, but I don't have the know-how. I don't know where to turn from here. I have some sketches, but that's what I have. This conference is for you. It's going to have innovators, 3D printers, welders, designers, anything that you can imagine to build the product that you need is going to be in Boston, September 30th through October 1st. So join us. It's going to be a good time there as well. And if you're doing all these things, you're going to need some energy. And there is no better place to get energy, from what I've heard, than shop floor coffee. I say from what I've heard because I don't drink coffee. It's not my jam. It's not my bag. But this is an amazing company. They also give back to the causes that mean a lot to them. So when you make a purchase, they give back, which is amazing, right? And they are big supporters of manufacturing, as you can tell in the title. It is great coffee. People love it. I've seen them at trade shows and the line just goes around the corners and people are just waiting for this coffee and then they come back for more. So if you're interested in good coffee and not that swill that most people serve at their shop, go to shopfloorcoffee.com and enter the code ALL10 for 10% off your first offer, and start treating your team to actual good coffee. I mean, you love them, right? You love your team. Tell them that you love them. Buy them some good coffee. I mean, it's the least you can do, right? And if you find value today, please, please, please like, subscribe, and follow us on whatever platform that is, and share it. Share the show with other people. I'm not making any money from this. I don't want to make any money for this. What I want to do is I want to keep telling the stories of manufacturers in the US, why it's important, why our industry matters, why people should get involved in it, and how we can continue growing it together. And the only way that happens is if we get out and we start telling stories, right? We work in a fantastic industry where there are amazing things done every single day, life-saving things. And that's not an exaggeration. And so if we don't tell the story, nobody's going to tell it for us. So be part of the show, watch the show, share the show. Let's do these things together. I appreciate all the feedback we get. If you have feedback, let me know. If you think this sucks, tell me that it sucks. And I'm not going to tell you we're going to quit, but we might make some changes and some improvements. That's part of continuous improvement, right? That's part of learning and growing. This is a live show, so when there are mistakes, please be graceful and forgiving. I would appreciate that. And the real purpose of it being a live show is so that you, while you're listening, while you're watching, you can add your thoughts and feedback to the show as well. So wherever you are watching or listening, go ahead and use those comments. Let us know that you're there so that we can give you a shout out and say thank you for being here with us and watching with us. And if you have any questions for myself or our guest, then please put those in there so that we can get them answered. And now, without further ado, I have rambled long enough. Let's bring in my friend Whitney. Whitney, how are you, friend?
I'm good, Tony. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Now that I'm done talking, it's your turn.
That was a lot. I think you need to wear that suit to National Plastics Conference, by the way.
I can do that. Mm-hmm. I've lost a little bit of weight, so it now fits again. So that's that was key.
Fall coming up.
I do. Sometimes I don't realize all the things that I end up booking myself for.
Yeah. Well, your golf tournament's right at the heels of our event.
Yes.
And then you're going to MedTech. So
yes, it's going to be a busy little week there. But it's going to be totally worth it. Because every time that we have these things, it's opportunity to network. And like I said, tell the story about what manufacturing is, what plastic is, what mold making is, what molding is. All of those things matter in big ways. And people don't totally understand what that is. They're like, oh, you work in mold making. What's that? There's so much to tell. Like, how much time do you have to hear what we do?
Exactly. Sometimes it's hard to figure out where to start with those conversations. Yes. But really appreciate you inviting me to join you today. So thank you.
I mean, it's only been like 2 years in the making, right? I mean, this is
yeah.
It's good though. I mean, it's good. It's gonna be a good time. So you are the Senior Director for Industry Engagement in the Equipment Division, correct?
Correct. Yes. So at the association, we have 3 industry segments specifically that we represent. So the equipment industry segment, which includes our mold makers, the material suppliers, and our processors. And within those, each of those, depending on what they're doing in the recycling space, they'll fall under the processors, material suppliers, or equipment as well.
So a lot going on, right? Like people think like plastic is just a thing and that there's no way to get involved. There's nothing to do, but there's an entire industry association that is doing so many things. What are at a high level, what's going on at the industry association?
Loaded question.
I mean, at a high level,
At a very high level. I mean,
yeah.
Really top of mind right now, Patrick Krieger, our SVP of Sustainability and Policy, is in Geneva at INC 5.2 for the global treaty to end plastics pollution. So that's huge. We want to make sure we're having boots on the ground and being representative of the United States in these conversations. So that's just one layer of what we're doing at this very moment. But at a very high level, so I work on our industry engagement team. I have 2 other counterparts who lead the other 2 industry segment councils, the material suppliers and processors. And for me, from my perspective, what I do at the association is I'm that bridge builder between the equipment manufacturers and the association, making sure that they're getting the most value out of their membership and making sure that they're, plugged into the areas that mean the most to their organization, whether that's within our advocacy group. So our government affairs team, we focus on both federal and state government affairs. We have somebody dedicated to the West Coast out in California. We have somebody dedicated to the East Coast that she's based in New York. But then our folks boots on the ground at Capitol Hill, whether that's once a week, twice a week, we're consistently engaging with those policymakers and the administration on various issues, whether that's regulations, policy, tariffs and trade right now is a big topic of conversation. We're also heavily invested in the sustainability space. As I mentioned, we do have representation at INC 5.2. But we also support our members in recycling and other sustainability aspects. So environmental, social, and governance. If you're interested in ESG, we have working groups for that. Our mission as an association, and I'll probably say this 1,000 times while we're together, because it's so intrinsically connected to everything that we do. And as I've been thinking about this, it makes so much sense. We protect, promote, and grow the plastics industry. And everything that we focus on. Yeah. And everything that we focus on truly drives that mission home every day. So, what I'm focused on as the senior director for equipment, what my colleagues are focused on, whether it's, working on environmental health and safety issues or packaging issues or recycling issues, it's all in an effort to protect what we're doing as an industry, to promote the amazing things that we're doing as an industry, and to grow the plastics industry. Ultimately, bringing all of those three things together just benefits everybody who's involved.
Because I know it does me. So I'm going to ask because I think I know the answer. Being involved in plastics as much as you are, does it make you crazy when outside people don't understand the level and efforts that all of plastics as a whole is going through and working towards to do a better job in the pollution side of things and the sustainability side of things? Does it make you nuts?
It does. Honestly, it really does. And sometimes it's really hard to break through that noise. You see all of these things out there with, plastic on the beaches or in the water or in the environment. And it's hard working in this industry to see those things and see that, yes, that's real and that's happening, but also to understand how important and essential it is. And for folks, one of my favorite things that I do at the association is talking with our members, right? That's something I do practically on a daily basis, is that I'm engaging with at least one of the members every day. But for those folks that, may be coming into the fold to participate in our NPE show, might not necessarily know all of the things that we do. And when I have those conversations and I see those light bulbs go off, even for our membership, of like, wow, you do that? You do all of that? You have all this data, you do sustainability, you're involved in all of these things. I didn't know that. You can set up legislative tours to come to my facility and bring lawmakers there. I didn't know you did that. And it's all of these things that it's having these conversations with folks and really getting out there, just like you keep saying, it's that relationship building and getting and the networking and boots on the ground and just really sharing that story about what we can do on behalf of the industry and the members. It's pretty much infinite of the things that we are capable of. And we're small, we're a small but mighty association. I think we have around 60-ish folks. We've grown exponentially over the year just because our relevancy and our reach is growing as an association and what we're capable of doing to advocate and protect and promote on behalf of our membership.
I know for me, this sounds bad, but it's true. We joined the association to get a discount at NPE. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was it. Yep. That was it first and foremost. We thought, okay, well, that's a good discount. That's a reason to join. Yep. But then it's like any other association, right? You only get out of it what you put into it. And so if all you want is the discount, then that's all you're going to get is the discount. Yeah. And that's fine. But even when we were at NPE, you came over, you're like, hey, did you know that we have a hospitality booth for plastics members? And we're like, no. You're like, oh yeah, you can go up there and have meetings with people, get yourself a drink, have a coffee, get away from the noise for a little bit. And so it's those little things that add value to an organization. I mean, NPE is a very, very, very long week. and a loud week, and there's, I mean, a lot of stuff going on. So anytime you can get a small break from the action, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's hard in manufacturing as a whole is people tend to not look at any of the positive sides of it. And, you know, plastic has that same thing, right? Everybody knows the picture of the sea turtle with a straw in his nose, or the fish stuck in the Coke bottle, the plastic things that hold the cans together. Those are the things that people always recognize and they see. And when Lexi was on, we joked, and I said, listen, that turtle was going to die anyways, because if the turtle can't outswim a straw, then it's never going to survive against a shark. It's just not. That turtle wasn't going to make it. I'm sorry. And that's me just joking, because every industry has its pain points, right? You could say there are teachers in the US. There are a lot of good teachers, but there are teachers that don't do the job that they're supposed to do. And bad students come out of that, and students that are unprepared and uneducated and not adding to society in ways that they should. Does that mean we ban teachers? No. It means that we celebrate the good teachers for the jobs that they're doing. And then we work to improve on the bad teachers and give them the tools and the resources to do the things that they need to be doing better. But you have to call out both. You can't just say, you know, we're done with this part, right? And when people are like, plastic needs to go, it's like, come on, really?
Right. Well, what are you going to use instead?
Yes.
What's going to be more sustainable instead? You know, there's actually been studies that I think it was like 14 out of, I can't even remember how many applications, but plastic was the more sustainable choice. You know, when you think about, you know, plastics and a lot of those images evoke emotion, right? And so that's where people start talking about it. And I mean, I remember that sea turtle, and I remember my thought process is, why on earth are they trying to pull it out of his nose on the boat? Like, that's got to be painful. That's not,
take him to a vet,
right? Like, that was the part that bothered me the most out of that. But you know, at the end of the day, when you think about plastic and you think about, yes, we want to advocate for more sustainable use. We want to promote plastic circularity as an association, as an industry. We want to make sure that we're reusing it where we can. We want to make sure that it's not going into the environment and it's staying within the economy. And so those are things that we are focused on, is ending that plastic waste in the environment, whatever that looks like. But also celebrating what plastics can do. You know, thinking from my own personal story with plastics, and you know, this goes back to my dad and his diagnosis with cancer. You know, and you think about plastics in the medical field, and he was adamant that he wanted to write a book about how plastics saved his life, because he was so involved in plastics. Like, that was his life. You know, he started in the manufacturing side, working in injection molding companies, worked his way up through there. And then he actually became the CEO of the Plastics Industry Association. It was, you know, then known as SPI, the Society of the Plastics Industry. He started there in 2005, and plastics has been his life. I mean, he could make a conversation with somebody just walking on the street, drinking something out of a paper straw, and he'd call him up and be like, "Oh, what are you drinking out of a paper straw for? What is this?" And then within 5 minutes, they'd be best friends. But thinking about, you know, his journey through his cancer treatment and everything that goes into medical treatment, you know, the IV bags that are, you know, just your saline drip, or the tubing, so that way you can get a blood transfusion if your platelet counts are low, even just getting your chemotherapy treatments, the port that he had installed. All of these things are made of plastic, and these are all life-saving things that, you know, and again, this is my personal connection with the industry, not even just talking about it as a material because I work for the Plastics Industry Association. For me, it's part of, you know, why I'm here. You know, it's that passion that evolves, and I didn't ever expect to be working here, to be perfectly honest with you, Tony. My journey with the association started kind of oddly. I used to work in residential property management, and in that, I actually loved doing the rent collection part of it. You
love doing the rent collection?
Yes. So I would post the residents' payments. I would research their accounts. I would find debits and credits and see where, you know, and they actually sent me around to different properties to clean up their accounts too. And so when I left that job, long story short, we moved to Japan for a couple years, and I came back and I was like, I want to try something different. And so I told my dad, I was like, I think I might want a job in accounting. He's like, well, we actually have a position at the association. And I interviewed and I started out as a revenue accountant here almost 9 years or 10 years ago now. So, working on the revenue side and then working my way up through there, I never anticipated being on this side of it. I worked in revenue and the financial planning and analysis and budgeting for the association for 7 years. And I transitioned into this role in the last 3. So I would even consider myself in the plastics industry for the last 3 years, to be honest. Yes, I've worked for the association for nearly 10, but that first part of it was very, niche in our accounting team. I learned a lot about what we do as an association, but really on the manufacturing side and the plastic side and what we do externally has really just been in the last 3 years.
So when you were doing that, when you were doing the accounting side of things, did plastics seem as special to you then? Like, did you see something that made you say, I need to get myself more involved in this. I know I could be a bigger part of this and I want to be?
Absolutely. I loved my team. I love working with the people at the association in general. Our company culture overall is one of the big reasons I've stuck around as long as I have. We've had a lot of transition in the association with leadership. And it's really just come down to what we do on behalf of our members, what we do internally as an association, how we collaborate with each other, how we work together, how dedicated and passionate these people are, how smart they are. We have a meeting every Monday with the staff, just 30 minutes debrief of, what's happening, what has happened. And I'm always floored at what we accomplish in any given week. And it's, our government affairs team is, staying up until 2 a.m, testifying for things, EPR legislation or whatever it might be. And it's so cool to hear about what everybody's doing and how it's impacting our members, how it's impacting our industry, and just sharing that with our teams. I love that. And so that is something that I've been involved with since we started and kind of hearing about what everybody else is doing. And I'm like, cool. And I can see how I fit into this. Yeah. And one of my favorite parts about working on the accounting side was how much I got to touch every single department that we had. And so I knew a little bit about a lot of what we do at the association, even then, because I'm interfacing with every single department as we're talking about the activities that are coming up, talking about their budget needs, talking about what they have planned, the activities. And I'm like, some of these things are really cool. Yeah. So yes, I never really understood my dad's passion for the industry until I joined the association either. And so seeing him in action and the relationships that he was making and how passionate about the industry and the material itself he is and has always been, that was really profound for me as well. What I remember from my dad when I was growing up was that he traveled a lot. That was really all I remembered. He was a sales guy. He was always gone. He would bring me back really cool trinkets from different areas of the world. I collected thimbles. My sister collected spoons. I don't know if you're familiar with, they sell those all the airport.
I know them. I know them pretty well.
But, it didn't mean a whole lot to me. I think I went to my first NPE back in maybe, I know it was in Chicago. So it was probably maybe 2009, maybe.
Okay.
But I was just more excited about going to the American Girl Place in Chicago. I didn't care about NPE. And so my first NPE back in 2018, I'm like, and this was still working on the accounting team, like, this is really cool. And I was down there for 2.5 weeks because I helped out with move-in.
Okay.
We had a concierge service on the floor at NPE and just another point of contact for folks. It was somebody who sat on the floor the entire time. You have questions, I'll get you connected with whomever you need. And that was a really cool experience for somebody working behind the scenes in accounting to have that level of interaction with the show.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, to answer your question, yes, it has definitely incited my passion for the industry, even working on the accounting side, which is why I am where I am now.
And that's what I love about you. I mean, you're a passionate person anyways. I've never seen you, what's the right word? Dispassionate, impassionate, not passionate. I don't know. But it like, there's a joy to you when you're doing these things and the things that you like doing. And part of that is engaging with people. And one of the things that I noticed that I really appreciate being at the walk-in, or what was it? The fly-in, the fly-in. The
Yes,
fly-in,
fly-in.
I got it eventually. Being at the plastics fly-in or at the plastics conference the year before is
Mhm.
the level of inclusivity and transparency within the organization. So you want to sit in on the board meeting and see what's going on? Do it. Like find out what's actually happening in our industry from the people that are the boots on the ground, going to the meetings and having the big discussions, whether that is with lawmakers or talking about sustainability or talking about, what's going to happen next or what this looks like. There are people actively fighting for these things on a regular basis and not fighting to just make it easier for us as an organization, an industry, and an association, but fighting for all of us collectively, globally, to make the world really a better place. It sounds cheesy when you say that,
Mhm.
but one of the things that I didn't realize when we went to the fly-in was all of the paperwork and the legwork that had been done previously to be able to just go in and sit with the members of Congress and say, look, here, this is the plan for sustainability. Help us
Mhm.
put it into practice because
Yeah.
we want it more than you do. Right. This is not a big shock that we need to get better at things. We have a plan. Will you help us make it federal and bring it to a level that it's mandatory and it's actually going forward? And then there's rewards for people that are doing it correctly.
Mhm.
People don't realize that that's going on a regular basis. And it was a big eye-opening thing for me because I thought, you said, Tony, you should come to this. And I was like, I should not be talking to Congress people. I don't know the details. I don't know what's going on. Like, you want Alex Hoffer. That's who you want. You want Alex to come and speak to these people. And then Alex called me and he's like, you should come to this. And I was like, dude, I
Oh, so
will.
you listen to Alex and not me. I
Well,
see how it is.
I listened to both of you. But I said, Alex, I will go, but I'm going to sit like in your pocket and I'm going to let you do all the talking because you are much more versed in this. And like, this is your area. You want me to be ridiculous and wear a crazy suit and run a golf outing? I will go do that. But I don't know the ins and outs of this industry and the importance of what's going on. And when it comes to sustainability and anything like that, I don't know it. And you and Alex and the association were like, you don't need to know it. Here's some speaking points. What we need you to do is show up.
Well, exactly. And that's, you know the ins and outs of your business and you know the ins and outs of your people and you know the ins and outs of the community in which you operate.
Yep.
And those are important for those conversations. And our job as an association is to bring these voices together collectively to make sure that you have the platform to be able to advocate for your business and advocate for the industry. And you're right, there is a lot that goes into planning that fly-in. So that way, all you have to do is show up and go to your meetings that we've scheduled. But I really appreciate what you said about the transparency. And that's one thing even members of the association don't necessarily see. So if you're a member of one of the industry segments, so for the equipment and mold makers, for example, you are absolutely more than welcome to come to the equipment council meeting, whether or not you're a voted seated member or not. We want to make sure that you are represented within those meetings, and we encourage anyone who can to show up and join and have your voice be heard. These are the opportunities where we can be in the plastics industry, and this is something that we do very frequently in many of our councils, committees, boards, working groups, whatever it is, because the biggest part is bringing everybody together, making sure that you have those platforms to be able to share your insights, collaborate with your peers, competitors, whatever it might be, who's in the room. But those councils also shape the direction of what we focus on as an association.
Right.
Your voices are important to inform us what's relevant, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities that we should be tackling as an association on behalf of our membership. And those conversations are integral into how we plan the activities in the coming months and years. So having those conversations, making sure that folks understand that they are more than welcome to join us. The only meeting that is closed is our board of directors. That is the only one that is closed to just the board of directors members. But the other ones, absolutely. If you're a member of the association, we want to make sure that you're involved and at that table. That's something common refrain. I think this was actually probably spring meeting 2 years ago. Our keynote speaker is like, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And that has been a common refrain that we have talked about, and you even alluded to it at the beginning, that, you can sit on your couch and complain, but it's not going to get you anywhere. Nope. And so if you're at the table, that's where you can make sure that your voice is represented and we're taking into consideration what's important to you in your business and the industry.
And it's so much easier to be a Monday morning quarterback or a backseat driver, right? It's so much easier to just sit back on your couch and complain
and
about everything.
Somebody else will do it. Other people are doing it. I don't need to do it. But I think, your experience at the fly-in speaks volumes, where it's like, well, I'm not really that guy. I don't know this stuff. But as an association, we provide those talking points for you. We had plenty of one-pagers. We provided folders that you just hand to your lawmakers and legislators and like, here, this is what we want to talk about. This is why we're here. And hearing those stories from the companies and the impact that they have on their constituents, that's what they're, concerned about is how is this affecting, my community and who I represent. Those are going to be so impactful, and it's strength in numbers. I mean, you were there that day. Capitol Hill was so busy.
It was packed. I mean, it took,
so it's not even
I was glad it wasn't raining because it took hours to get in.
It was a little chilly, but yeah, you're right. At least it wasn't raining. But it just goes to show that, strength in numbers, not even just for the Plastics Industry Association, but other organizations too, are showing up and talking to their legislators and just making sure that they understand what's important to them.
Yeah, it was very interesting to be there. I will definitely attend again. And what I found fairly quickly was I am somebody that should have a voice there because I don't have to have all the speaking points. But to your point, I know our business and I know what we need and I know what's important to us and I know what's holding us back and I know what that looks like. And it was fascinating where sometimes you would just have interns to talk to. And I say just interns. You would have interns to talk to. And they were great. They were very respectful. They were very attentive. They took notes. And I think what was great on our side was the team I was with was very respectful to everybody. There was nobody that looked down on anybody on either side, right? Like, oh, you're just manufacturers or you're just an intern. It was people actually engaging and having conversation. And the last meeting we had, I don't remember the congressman's name and I wouldn't say it anyways. We sat down and he was actually there and he said, so what are we doing here today? And we introduced ourselves, so what we're doing. And he said, I'm sure you want to talk about trade and what's going on with the tariffs. And we were like, well, that's part of it. And he started in a little tirade about how this such and such doesn't know what the such and such he's doing. And, he's just a moron and this and that and the whole 9 yards. And we just sat there like, dude, what are you doing? And I said, well, sir, I can't say that I disagree with all the tariffs. They're actually helping our business because what the tariffs are doing is they're encouraging companies to look into the United States to have certain things made, which is what helps our business grow. We don't build the products that go out, but we work on the molds. And if those are being done overseas, then my team can't do the job that they need to do. And so it's holding us back. So this is actually a huge, huge benefit for our company. And he was like, wow, he still doesn't know what he's doing, and just shifted. And it was like, at that point, it became like, are you listening at all? And I guess that's part of politics, right? Do the politicians in charge care what the American people are saying, or is it their own agenda? That's a whole different conversation. But it did open my eyes when you think like, why don't things get accomplished? And because people have different agendas and that's what it is. I didn't see that at all when we went back to the hotel and had conversations. Everybody's open, warm, welcoming, transparent. And and you can tell that it's a unit of everybody working together. The one thing that you said that I think would be great was partnering with other associations. How do we do that?
So we're actually doing that through quite a few of our coalitions and groups that we're working with. So, and this really comes down to some of these alliances and coalitions that we've developed on the sustainability side. So we work very closely with the American Chemistry Council. I don't know if you've heard of Operation Clean Sweep. Mm-hmm. That is our zero resin loss prevention program. It's been around since the 90s. And it's recently under Charlotte's direction, and she is incredible.
She's a genius.
Yes, she is amazing. But under her direction, it's just grown exponentially, and we partner with ACC with that. And so, and that's just it's those folks that are dedicated to zero resin loss prevention. So zero resin in the environment is what we're aiming towards with that program. And obviously Charlotte can speak to more greater detail on that, but we've started a verification program, and we've grown that with the collaboration that we've done with the American Chemistry Council, the Flexible Film Recycling Alliance, and the Flexible Packaging Association, and other groups that are involved in that. That's an opportunity for us to highlight that flexible film is recyclable. So you think about your plastic bags, or the plastic wrap that maybe goes around your paper towels, or whatever it is that you're bringing into your house that is a flexible packaging. There's not a lot of curbside recycling for those items, and so we've developed a site that will show you where you can take your film recycling through the Flexible Film Recycling Alliance. And so it's really just to highlight what we're doing as an industry, especially for some of these like harder to recycle materials, maybe more misunderstood. Maybe folks don't understand that can I really recycle those things? Yes, you can. And here is how you do that. So for me, I have all of my Publix bags that I collect when I go to the grocery store. I take them back. They have the plastic bag recycling there. So that way they can repurpose those and turn them into something else. We did a new, and we call it our NEMO projects, new and market opportunities. And Andy Brewer on our sustainability team, he focuses on the recycling side. He managed that. And we did an asphalt project where they used the recycled plastic bags and turned them into asphalt roads. And just really cool innovations of how to think outside the box of how to, the end of life for some of these products. What does that look like? What can we turn them into? Some of our newer coalitions and alliances that we've created is our polystyrene recycling alliance. So, you think of foam packaging, foam coolers, foam insulation, your solo cups, all of those are made through polystyrene or expanded polystyrene, and being able to recycle that. So again, it's a misunderstood material that folks might not realize I can recycle that. And so it's highlighting that and working with other industry coalitions to make sure that folks understand and educate and work on, sound policies to make sure that we're able to recycle these materials. One that's been around for a long time is our American Recycled Plastic Bag Alliance, ARPBA. Again, it's bag manufacturers that work on policy and regulations when it comes to the manufacturing of plastic bags. And we know that that's been a huge target, which is why we have a separate arm specifically dedicated to plastic bags within the industry. And then my colleague Aaron Haas is working on a coalition for protein packaging. So being able to recycle and protein packaging and talk about that at the government affairs level. So there's a lot that we're working on, coalitions across associations, to bring in additional voices and using those resources effectively. And this is actually something we're going to talk about at a greater detail at National Plastics Conference too. We actually have a session dedicated to building those collaborations and those alliances and why it's so important, and to advancing what we're trying to do sustainably as an industry, but also highlighting the importance of having those relationships, not only with those associations, but bringing our members into the fold to make sure that they all understand what is most important to them too. So at the end of the day, we're working on behalf of you in the industry. So,
do you know a person named Tina Richter?
I do not.
So I met Tina Richter a while back. She used to, and I think she still owns Ryrich Plastic. It's in California. It's in Ontario, California. We used to do a lot of work with them, and she created a product called Weapon X. innovating in recycling solutions. And so it just says, I'm just going to read it. It's on LinkedIn. Weapon X transforms waste plastics into high quality products under their leadership driving innovation in recycling and sustainability. With over 4 years experience as CEO, the company is focused on advancing operations management, manufacturing processes, and raw materials to deliver solutions across industries, including construction, automotive, and medical. A lot of it is what you were saying, is they created a process that can take whatever plastic and recycle it in a way that can be used for other stuff. And I've seen her at NPE, I've seen her at different things, and I try to get her involved, but I'll send you her information. She might be somebody that's worth talking to and seeing what's going on, because she's been meeting with some really big wig people on getting this product developed. And it could be, it's again, it's one of those things that's over my head that I don't totally understand, but
I feel
you
like
might,
did you share something about Weapon X or something recently? I feel like I just saw this on LinkedIn.
I did not, but she's on LinkedIn all the time, sharing things. So
familiar, but no. But that's the cool thing about this industry, is just the innovations and the intention behind, what the industry is trying to do to advance circularity and sustainability, and making sure that, plastic remains a sustainable choice, but also not in the environment and remains within the economy. So that's really cool. And that's what we want to continue working on as an association.
Yeah. I would love, we belong to the TMA, the AMBA, the, fill in the gap, MIA, there's so many different associations.
Which is why, Tony, we went with plastics as what we would want to be called for short, rather than adding to the list of acronyms. We really wanted you to know that what we did.
Yeah. So, that is brilliant, by the way. Thank you for that, because it's the one that actually makes sense.
And plastics in all caps when you're talking about the association. So
what does plastics do? Plastics. And everything about plastics. But I would love to see the AMBA, American Mold Builders Association, and MAP, and plastics, and all of these organizations come together and say, how do we create some stuff together, and some unity and some synergy to be able to tell these stories? Like after the fly-in, I called Fiona from Mold Making Technology. I called Christina from Mold Making Technology, and I was like, hey, I don't know if it totally fits the magazine, but why not? Right? Like there were mold makers there. Toby Brawl was there. We were there. There were, Alex Hoffer was there. Eric Sandberg from National was there. Like so many people were there. Why not tell the story about what's going on? It's different than, how do you make this product, or what does that look like? But
but it's still an important conversation.
Yeah. And, the kind of the response that I got back was, well, is Plastics News going to cover it? Is somebody else going to cover it? If they're going to cover it, then we don't really need to cover it. And I was like, well, you're missing the boat here. Like you need stories, and you have stories. Like just let your members know, not your members, your readers know what's going on, and that this is a thing that they should also get involved in, and let their voices be heard.
And it could also be a unique perspective too, from the mold making industry specifically, if you're targeting, mold making technology as well. And it might have a different spin on it than what, Plastics News might put out as well. So
do you guys,
I think the more the merrier to highlight what we're doing as an industry.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Do you guys invite them like for the National Plastics
absolutely
conference and all those things?
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. I hope they show up. They should show up. Somebody should show up. They don't listen.
I know. I can
they should show up.
I can probably count on Dale being there. I saw him in your video too. So I was like, so many familiar faces in that iWarriors video.
It's so much fun.
It's like fun.
So let's talk about that a little bit. The conference. What's going to be going on? Why should people dedicate 3 days of their life?
Yes. Oh my gosh, Tony, I am so excited about National Plastics Conference. This is the second one that we've done, and just a little bit of background about why why we've kind of pivoted into this direction. So as an association, we've always hosted 2 meetings for our members, always in the spring, co-located with the industry fly-in, to make sure we have that opportunity to interact with our Congress folks on Capitol Hill. But then also a fall meeting. And again, this has usually been dedicated to the membership. That one's been very more association focused, but also highlighting what our members are doing. But we saw an opportunity with the fall conference specifically to create a larger event that would attract the entire plastic supply chain, but also give us an opportunity to engage with non-members who might not understand what we're doing, but also an opportunity to engage with brand owners. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but many years ago, gosh, I'm trying to think of how long it's been. It's been since I've worked at the association, but we used to have a brand owners council.
Okay.
But then, when the sustainability conversation really started picking up, they started taking that step away. So, all these coalitions that we're doing and alliances are also an opportunity to bring our brand owners back into the conversation without them needing to be members of plastics. And so for National Plastics Conference specifically, this is one of the only events that's kind of for the industry, by the industry. I lead the program development and content development and speaker engagement for this with my colleague Renee, and with the help of a program advisory board. So we actually have 11 members of the association across the industry segment councils, as well as involved in other areas of the association. So on our sustainability advisory board, our public policy committee, we're making sure that we're getting those voices from multiple avenues to make sure that we're creating relevant and engaging content for the industry. High level for what we're planning. One of my favorite events that we do every year kicks off the event, and that's our Future Leaders in Plastics litter cleanup. And we can talk about Flip in a little bit as well, but that is what we'll start the day with on Monday afternoon. So the 22nd of September, when everybody's convening in Orlando, if you feel like getting your hands dirty, potentially your clothes dirty as well, we would love for you to join us for the Flip cleanup.
And you know what I'll say about that? If you are one of those people that says like pollution is a problem, and then and you're planning on attending this, and then you decide to just sit in your room, you're part of the problem. Because if you don't get off the couch or the bed or whatever that is and put on your boots and get to work, then pollution is a problem. And you can't say like, there's nothing to do. There's no way I can help. There is a way you can help. We're having a busload of people go to parks and clean up the area. And it's actually a lot of fun.
It's so much fun. And it's such a more like kind of organic networking opportunity with folks. Conversations that you wouldn't expect. You pull people out of bushes, you get cut up. Like it's a whole bunch of, you might get stung by a bee. I think somebody got stung at one of our events before.
Last year we had some dehydration going on.
Well, let's not do that.
But it's real, right? I mean, it's like, it's getting your hands dirty and being part of the solution in a real way. And it's fun. It's a couple hours. It's not like it's dedicating your whole day. Exactly. It's a few hours with people who are like-minded in the industry, going out and making a difference and an impact. And it's not taking it from the grass or the field or the trail and throwing it into a landfill. There was actually a competition to see who could get the cleanest bag of plastic that, and it wasn't like what kind of plastic. It was all plastic, whatever was made out of plastic, foam, whatever. That was separate bags. And then the garbage paper was its own bags to be done away with. So like, go make a difference.
Yep. So that's one of my favorite events. And that's something that we've done. I mean, as an association, when I lived in DC, we actually used to do litter cleanups at the Anacostia River in DC. And then, Flip started its community engagement task group, and we've kind of put that onus on them. And so we do try to give back to the communities in which we're coming to, especially, at the fall conference. So again, that's how we'll kick off the day. Our recycling committee, which is a committee of the association, will meet after the Flip cleanup on Monday. And then a welcome reception. So if you can't make either one of those events, definitely want to join us for the welcome reception. And that'll just be the first networking opportunity to talk across the industry, see who's there, see who, what you're excited about, coming up to the event. Tuesday is when we really kick off the fun. And by fun, I mean, if you want to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and go on a fun run. I know you joined us for that last year too.
It's a good run.
I can't imagine it's going to be as cold or windy as it was in Houston last year. But it'll still be early, but we would love for you to join us for the fun run. But then that's the morning of Tuesday, the 23rd is when everything will kick off. And so our CEO, Matt Seaholm, he'll provide some opening welcome remarks for everyone to kick off the event. And then we actually have a keynote speaker, Eric Termwende, who is going to talk about, kind of the new workforce and, what we're doing. What is he doing? So workplace culture is what he's going to be focused on. That was a conversation we kind of started last year at National Plastics Conference with our keynote speaker. And that's actually something as an association we've really dove into and tried to define better. Last year, I participated in an internal working group to define our core values as an association and really focus on who we are, what we do, and why we do it. Yeah. And so the conversation about, leading in a new world of work, and that workplace culture and how it's important. That's how Eric's going to start the day. And then we also have a leadership panel. So made up of members in the industry, executive leaders within their organizations are going to join Matt for a moderated panel discussion to kind of round out the morning and talking about collaborations. And again, how important those are. So that's going to be a big theme of this conference too, is collaboration and why it's important for organizations to work together, either, across the supply chain, with associations. That'll be something else we dive into as well. And so that's going to take care of the morning. If you're involved in the Future Leaders in Plastics or the Public Policy Committee, those two groups will meet after that event as well. So that's an opportunity to engage with either one of those groups if that's important. So our Future Leaders is anybody who's a member of the association, a member of plastics, typically under 40, is who we're gearing those events to, that meeting specifically. And then in the afternoon is when we'll do those breakout sessions. So we have content planned around 3 overarching tracks. So there's business readiness, advocacy, and trends. So future looking, what's happening in the industry, what we have coming up. And so at 1:00 and then again at 2:30, we'll have 3 sessions going on at the same time in one of each of those content tracks. So on Tuesday afternoon, you're going to have sessions talking about extended producer responsibility, what that means, what are the frameworks, how are you going to implement that, what are the compliance strategies that you need to be aware of. So we'll have a moderated discussion talking about that. Navigating trade policy. That's huge right now with the tariffs and the trade and the ongoing conversations there. It seems to change every day. And so we'll have a speaker come in and talk to you about, what that means and how can you adapt and what's coming up and how you can advocate on behalf of your business when it comes to trade and tariffs. And then trends. This one I'm actually really excited about. This is the first section, recycling reality check, scaling solutions through innovation. And so this is going to be a session, and it's kind of going to be a full life cycle of the recycling stream. And we have 3 organizations that have worked together in the past that are going to kind of share this case study of how they work together, how they collaborate, and what that means for the recycling industry. So that one's really, I'm hoping that I can get in to see that one. It depends on where they put me. And then later on Tuesday, the next session track, we'll have a tax policy session. I know you had Mike Devereaux from Whitney on a couple weeks ago. He's actually going to be joining this session. We're also going to have a gentleman who does tax policy in DC. So he's going to be able to bring a different perspective, kind of that why they make the decisions that they do, how we've gotten up to the point that we have, kind of that palace intrigue of what happens in DC. So he'll be able to bring that perspective where Mike will bring from the plastics manufacturing side of things and how it affects your business. So that one will be great. Regulatory strategies is going to be another session within the advocacy track. That one we're going to focus on EPA and environmental regulations, FDA and food packaging regulations, and then environmental social governance, and how you can advocate and make sure that you're in compliance with all of those things. And then finally, wrapping up the afternoon in our trends track, an AI session dedicated to AI and plastics manufacturing. We have a couple experts from different AI companies joining us, and then we also are going to bring in that member perspective of how they're using AI in the manufacturing space. So that should be a pretty interesting conversation. And then to make sense of the initial promo picture that you put out with our Mickey ears, that evening we're actually going to be going to Epcot. I think you mentioned that before, but our evening event will be an evening at Epcot, opportunity to explore the park, drink around the world if you so choose, but we'll also have a reception area in the American Pavilion, which is actually at the very top of World Showcase. I'm a huge Disney nerd, so anybody who wants to hang out with me in Epcot, I will be able to show you the ropes if you want. But we'll have a private area for viewing the fireworks as well, which will be amazing. Epcot puts on an amazing fireworks show every evening. So that's just going to be an opportunity to have some fun in a very casual atmosphere. For those that don't wish to explore the park, just head over to our area for networking, have conversations, enjoy some food, watch the fireworks. So that'll be a great, Tuesday's going to be packed.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Full day. And then Wednesday morning, we keep the party going. So Wednesday morning, it'll kick off with a Sustainability Advisory Board meeting. So again, if you're involved in the Sustainability Advisory Board of the association, or a member of the association, you're more than welcome to attend that meeting. You don't have to be on the Sustainability Advisory Board. If you're passionate about sustainability in any stretch of the imagination, we would love for you to join us. Yep. And then after the Sustainability Advisory Board meeting, the last concurrent session tracks will convene. And so talking about supply chain resilience, we'll have a gentleman from S&P Global share some insights regarding the supply chain and how to navigate that in this shifting global landscape that we're seeing ourselves in. The session that I'm really excited about, we actually just had the prep call with our panelists last week, is the Building Collaborative Market Solutions through Strategic Partnership sessions. That's a mouthful. But that's where we have members who are involved in some of those alliances and coalitions talking about why it's important, what they're doing, what their focus is, how they're working across the industry with the other associations and the membership to drive more awareness and education to the recyclability of some of these materials. And then top of mind for everybody, this continues to be in the news, is microplastics. So we are going to have a session on perspectives on microplastics regarding the science and communication. So we have a really, really awesome panel set up for that to talk about, from the processor perspective, from the research perspective, and from the legal perspective, what we're focused on microplastics. And that's in our trends track. So that's more going to be forward looking, what we're seeing now, but what can we expect on the horizon when it comes to that conversation. So that's going to wrap up the concurrent sessions on Wednesday. And then after that, our chief economist, Dr. Kirk Pineda, will provide his economic update. That's always a big draw. That's a huge benefit of being a member of the association, is the data that Kirk and his team produce. Whether he'll actually be releasing the size and impact of the plastics industry report the week before. There will be an executive briefing for our members, actually on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. But so he'll be gleaning into that, but then also just kind of an overview of the plastics industry and the economic outlook there. And then one of the panels that I'm really excited about to close out the session again is our Future Leaders Focus session. So we have 3 panelists plus a moderator, all members of our Future Leaders in Plastics committee, that will be talking about how they got into the industry, what we can do to entice an industry or future workforce within the plastics industry, how they got in, why they've stuck around, and just kind of provide some insights to our attendees about how do we attract young professionals and keep them around in the industry. And then we'll close the doors to our non-members and have the annual business meeting and council meetings that afternoon. So it's a lot.
It's a lot
happening, and it's going to be plenty of opportunities for networking as well. There'll be breaks between these sessions. Yep. There'll be opportunities to engage with the association staff, learn more about what we're doing. We're going to have these coffee chats in the morning. If you want to learn more about FLIP, if you want to learn more about our economic department and what they're doing, if you want to learn more about government affairs and our advocacy efforts, or you have specific questions about what's going on in your state or what you're up against, there'll be opportunities for that as well. So, and then we'll have a closing reception as well on Wednesday for anybody who is able to stick around with us through that afternoon. And then the Future Leaders in Plastics will do a meetup that evening. That's something that we like to do for that group specifically. It's an opportunity for them to network and engage in a casual setting with their peers in the industry too. So we'll be going to Pinstripes, which will be a lot of fun. We did
Nice.
a similar thing last year. I can't remember what it was called now for the life of me, but it was an indoor bowling. Bowling's indoors anyway. It wasn't bowling. it was an indoor putt.
Okay. All right. That's different.
Putt Shack. I knew I was going to remember. So yeah, we went to Putt Shack last year and that was so much fun. I'd never been to one, but just a really cool opportunity for the young professionals in the industry to get together too at the close of the event. So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
and
one thing I'm forgetting. Oh my gosh. Because
yes, go.
Sorry. So on Thursday morning, if you want to stick around even more, we've actually organized an Operation Clean Sweep facility tour with Intoplast. It's about 15-20 minute drive away from the venue, which is the Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista at Disney Springs. Another mouthful. But they're going to open their doors and let us know how they are involved in Operation Clean Sweep, what they do to promote zero resin loss within their facilities, and how they participate in the Operation Clean Sweep program. So really excited about that. That'll be about, I think 3 hours from start to finish. It'll include lunch for folks that want to join that tour as well. So I think that's it.
It's a lot. It's awesome though. That's it. Right. And every opportunity is a chance for you to engage with other people that are there, other businesses, other members, other individuals. And one of the best times to engage is like at 5 o'clock when everything's done. You don't go to your room. You grab like 4 or 5 people and you say, hey, let's go to dinner and have a conversation there and actually get to know people. I know when we tried it for the fly-in, it was like, it was really cold at the Ferris wheel. Yeah. It was cold and windy and
we quickly pivoted though. Yeah. Hopefully you made it over to Cadillac Ranch with us, but yes.
Yeah.
We froze our.
But I was really impressed with everybody like doing it, like braving it and getting out there and like sticking around for a little while and trying to eat. I felt bad for the wait staff trying to bring food around to everybody.
Yeah, it was chilly. Did you go on the Ferris wheel?
I did not.
You didn't, yeah. That's not my thing.
No. I wouldn't have had a problem going. I talked to you for a long time. And then a friend of mine lives in Washington and he was like, hey, I'm in town. I'm around. Do you want to get together? And so I took advantage of that. And
nice.
It was great.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, and I know you said the same thing, was when I met you at the space draw for NPE 2024, right? That's what it was. Yeah. You humored me and you listened to my rambling about E210 on how we do our best as an organization to give back wherever we go. E210 is based on Ephesians 2:10, which just reminds us that we are God's handiwork, created to do the things that he set before us in Christ Jesus. And so everywhere we go, we need to do that. And so I gave you my pitch and you were like, this sounds interesting. I love it. And I thought you were just being nice at first. I'm not going to lie. Because I didn't know who you were. And you're like, who is this guy? And why is he talking to me about this? And that
I even told you when we met, it felt like it was meant to be because I had been having those thoughts myself of like, what can I do more in my life to give back? Just in general. So for me, no, I wasn't just blowing smoke.
No, it was great. It was great. But I think that must have been right around the time where you got out of accounting and into your role. Cause that was
about a year later.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it morphed into this thing, right? Where NPE and plastics were on board and it was like, okay, what does this look like? And we were able to work with, what was the organization?
U.S. Hunger.
U.S. Hunger. That's right. Mm-hmm. And serve 30,000 meals to families in Orlando in like 3 hours.
4 hours. Yeah.
People showed up, all the food was gone and it was amazing. And so that's like real tangible difference that we can make as an association and as a group of people. I'm assuming we should probably start those conversations soon-ish for 27.
100%. I've already told my team this is definitely something I want to repeat. I've told you 100 times it's probably one of my most favorite things I've done since I've worked at the association. Obviously I love a lot of what I do, but that in particular, just the collaboration with you, with our team, with US Hunger, the folks that I met during that event, and you don't think about those opportunities as networking opportunities or being able to, meet people where they are. But just the folks that it drew into the room. And I mean, I think you were on my assembly line that I think it was, Damien made up a song.
Yes.
And so we all started singing about like lentils and rice and beans and that. But it's those organic conversations that just pop up when you get into a room with people who are just doing something so impactful.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely. My team knows that that's something I want to repeat. So, and then hopefully this time we can make it even bigger than it was. And, I know Wednesday was a super busy day for folks on the floor.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's just as busy at NPE 2027. And we do run into the same, issue in terms of folks being able to get away from their booths to participate, but also, to make it even bigger, double our impact if possible, maybe even more. So.
I love the insight from your team because I'm the big picture guy. I'm not the detail guy. So my brain is like, let's do it all week and just all day, all week, just have it open. People can come in and just make some food all week. Yeah. And they're like, whoa. We don't even know if people are going to show up to this. You want to do all week? Like, let's do 4 hours on a Wednesday. And I thought, win. Like,
and I think it worked well. I think it worked well. We had a nice stream of people coming in and out. And,
and honestly, if we would have had more people, we would have been done in 2 hours.
Right. Yeah. It would have definitely not taken. Wow. That's fantastic.
I knew what you meant.
It's
but
that live part that you mentioned to folks at the beginning.
Yeah. I think the beauty of that is we've tried it and it's worked. And so now you, myself, your team, plastics, we can put more effort into getting more sponsorships so we can raise more money, so we can bring more food, so we can feed more people and tick all those boxes. So I think that'll be great.
Yeah. Again,
but that's a long ways away from now. It
is, but it's going to come up sooner than you think. I mean, we just opened the space application process yesterday for NPE 2027.
Which I need to do.
Well, you have some time. We'll do the lottery in December. But for those that might not be familiar, this is the time now to submit your application for your space for NPE 2027. So we're in 2025. That does seem like it's forever and a day away, but it's going to sneak up on you. And so, you want to make sure that you indicate how much space that you want to take at the show, because that's going to inform how we draw the floor plan. And then, so in December is when that lottery will happen, and you'll determine when you're going to select your space during the space selection and planning event in March of next year.
And y'all, if you haven't been to this yet, and if you ever wanted to be a general manager in the NFL or the NHL or the NBA, and that's just not your thing, it's not going to happen. Sorry. That's the way that God has written your life. You're just not going to be that person. You should go to the space draw because you get to pretend like you are.
We have likened it to the NFL draft of the plastics industry.
Standing there, I'm not going to lie to you, I felt completely ridiculous. I was looking around thinking it was ridiculous, but in the end, I appreciated it and I enjoyed it. And I was like, I got to go all the way to Florida for an hour. This is ridiculous.
No, there's so much more that happens that week than just picking your booth. Oh yeah. We have all the vendors there. You can start planning, your booth space and interfacing with all the vendors that you need to talk to, to just make sure you have the most successful show that you can. And then there's also, receptions and networking opportunities.
That's where we met.
Exactly. That is where we met. And
so it worked out.
2.5 years later. So
it worked out. It was great. But it is a little overwhelming where you have, it's okay. Picture this, people. You walk into a room, it's a huge room, and there are different monitors where you can see what booths are available, and you can do that on your phone. It's like a draft class, and there are boards and a whole stage and a setup where people are going up and they're selecting their booth and they're announcing their booth and how much space they have and all of those things. And it was pretty cool. I thought it was ridiculous at first, but by the end of it, I thought it was pretty cool. Here's what I'll tell you in advance. Don't get your hopes up on the space that you want. Like, I wouldn't invest too much time in planning all of that out unless you're like number one or, 1 through 50 or 100. I mean, it's a huge space. Listen, if you're in the room, people are going to see you. That's really what it boils down to. So, don't stress yourself out about it. It's going to be fine. You're going to get to pick something.
Flexibility and patience are definitely helpful during space selection. But it's a really fun process. And it's honestly a very formal process. I don't know if you remember this, Tony, but every booth that was selected, we announced it from the stage.
Yes, I remember that. And I remember them saying, Tony DeMakis from Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales, you have selected booth number, blah, 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 blah. It's a 10 by 20. Congratulations. And I thought congratulations to me. Congratulations to you. You just took my money like that.
No, you had a great spot in the South Hall last year.
It was great. It was great. We had a lot of fun. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was good.
Yeah.
And I will be back again in March. So
March 2nd through the 6th, I believe. Yep. So same place. We're going to do it at the Orange County Convention Center. That worked out really, really well when we did that back in 2023. And we also offered tours of the facility too. So if you've never been to OCCC, it's huge. I mean, when you think of NPE.
Oh, I got lost.
Yes. Well, we had, we secure over 1 million square feet of space. We have over 1,200 exhibitors. We're the only trade show that comes to the Orange County Convention Center that takes up both buildings, the West Building and the South and North Building. It's until you've actually experienced NPE, I think in person, it's really hard to fathom how large and impactful this trade show really is.
It's a monster. So the first NPE I went to, Christina from Mold Making Technology and I were doing podcasts together all the time. And we partnered with Gardner Business Media and we did live podcasts from their booth, which was in the main hall. And our booth was in the hall that's like a mile away. So every morning I would go to their booth.
I wouldn't call one main over the other. It's west and south. That's it.
There's one with bigger stuff.
Yes, a lot of the manufacturers, like the bigger manufacturing companies, will be in West for sure.
So okay, so it was in West. I'm sorry, not Maine.
There
West.
you go.
It was in West, but South is really far away.
It is.
And so as soon as we were done recording and doing our show, I ran all the way back to our booth. It's exhausting. But
I would anticipate. I mean, my pace, it's about a 10 to 15 minute walk from west to south. So it really just depends on how quickly you can feed it over there. But it's a hike.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun.
Absolutely.
You just have to embrace it for what it is and enjoy the week and just know what it is. And
lucky you were just there for a week. There's people down there for a month.
Oh, I was there for more than a week.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I was even there for 2.5 weeks this last year too. So
we drove our equipment there. So we drove from Chicago to Florida. And then, part of the team drove down and installed the booth. And then I stayed on the back end and drove home with it. And so we packed it up and it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a whole process.
Yeah, it's a thing, but it's good. It's a good time. My goal for NPE this year is to just totally blow out the food distribution, delivery, packing thing. And I would love to see how we can get more real PR and media coverage of Orlando showing that plastics gives back and cares. Because I think it's an opportunity to not make plastic sexy and giving away food, but make it relevant to people that go, that can shift the narrative from big, bad, mean plastic to, oh, look, they care.
Yeah.
So I think that would be that's a challenge. I'm not good at that stuff. So I'm sure plastics has a PR team though. Now that they know it's successful.
We do have a full communications team. Yes,
That's good.
That's how we promote.
I know.
Part of our mission. Yes.
So we can do that.
Yeah.
You want to do some stupid questions?
Sure.
All right. Fun questions.
Oh boy.
If you could make one rule that everyone had to follow, what would that rule be? This is 5 questions with Whitney.
5 questions if I dare. Honestly, I would just want everybody to be kind. If that could be a rule that everyone had to follow, I would just want everyone to be kind. It's not that hard, but it seems like it's that hard.
Which is hard to understand, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's just not that
and
hard.
I mean, honestly, I have days too where I might not be the most kind person.
Yeah, of course.
Honestly, if that was, I think that would that's the first one that just popped into my brain. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes like, think less of yourself and more of others.
Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of the journey I've been on, even since I met you 2.5 years ago, like just how can I do more that's bigger than me?
Yeah.
And
I love it.
That just starts with being kind.
I love it. All right. Question 2. What is the one thing that you're superstitious about? And maybe not superstitious, but like for me, I usually give people an example. Like if I go to everybody goes to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom in public. I wash my hands. I need 3 paper towels. Like those air dryers don't do it for me. And
oh gosh, no.
Always 3. Like it's
the air dryers blow everything. Oh,
they're not good.
So unsanitary.
Yeah.
Superstitious. What's one thing or something I just like compulsively have to do?
Yeah, maybe that's a better way to put it. Compulsively. Yeah.
This is going to sound really funny. So definitely not superstitious, but definitely compulsive.
Yeah.
I have colored hangers that are like the colors of the rainbow. And when I hang them up in my laundry room, they have to be in rainbow order. Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
Grace does that with all her clothes. My daughter does that with all her clothes. Her clothes are in rainbow order.
I try to do that too. And I was actually just having the same conversation with my colleague, April, because we were getting some new gear for plastics, and the way she had organized the racks in the office for stuff for us to try on, it was in sleeve length and then color. And I was like, I bet your closet looks like this at home too. And she's like, absolutely. And I was like, mine too. Which is again why I love working here, because the people and we just get along so well.
Yeah. My wife is just happy that that if the clothes are put away,
I've given up on doing my kids' closets, but mine is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. All right. Question number 3. If you swapped genders for one day, how would you spend your time?
I would probably spend it being less worried and anxious about all of the things that I need to do. It feels like my husband does not have that same sense of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like that mental load that I carry as a mom and as a wife and as a working professional that I feel like in my personal experience, it feels like the men in my life don't have that same weight. And so that's what I would love to offload that for a day if I could swap genders.
I think you and my wife should start a support group. That's what I think. Because I don't really have it either.
See? Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I'm not even going to go there. Never mind.
No, you can. It's fine. We're friends.
It's
it's
just, managing the kids' schedules and doctor's appointments and the things that need to be cleaned around the house. And, one of my least favorite phrases, just tell me what you need me to do. Nobody tells me.
Yes, but here's where I go with that. Both people can't lead the way. And so like you've got a plan with how you want that done.
Well, fair point.
And what you want that to look like. And like, you know who the doctors are, you know what the schedule is, you know what all that looks like. If I start jacking around with your schedule, we're going to have problems.
That is not untrue.
So, I mean, it's not It's not just that we're lazy, and I don't know your husband to
I
speak
didn't
for.
say he was lazy. Oh, absolutely not.
I'm
I
talking
just
for
said that he
myself.
doesn't
It's
have
not
the same
just that we're lazy. It's
mental load.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And you do such a, I'm sure you do such a good job of it. He doesn't want to get in the way.
Yeah. We'll just go with
All
that.
right.
That's also why I'm exhausted at 9 o'clock every night.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's that. All right. We'll move on. If animals could talk, what would be the rudest and why?
I don't know. I feel like the armadillos and the possums around here probably would be, because they're the ones who end up being roadkill more often than not. Yeah, just actually, so this is going to be very Florida again too. The sandhill cranes definitely feel like they would have an attitude.
Okay.
They're like a protected bird down here, and they're amazing, and they have the coolest call, and they strut like they think that they're amazing, and they mate for
their stuff doesn't
they also
stink,
mate
huh?
for life, which is also really sweet, but also sad at the same time, because I actually saw one get hit the other day. Well, I didn't see it get hit, but its mate was like standing there, and it's like, that's sad. But anyway, yeah, those would probably be my top three, just based on my observations living in Florida.
Do I know something funny?
What's that?
An hour and 25 minutes of conversation, and our first comment is a goose.
And I feel like they're rude anyway because they honk at you.
Yes, and you know what? She's onto something, because I would say goose is the typical answer. It's either cat or goose.
And I was, and I feel like I'm surprised that somebody hasn't said honey badger, because it's like, that whole
honey badger don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, armadillos and possums, just because people continue to hit them.
I think that's fair. Like, I mean, I'd be pretty rude if somebody kept running over my buddies. Mm-hmm. I might move, but all right. How many kindergarten kids could you take in a fight before you were outnumbered?
That's a great question, because, gosh, so my daughter was in kindergarten last year, and I honestly do not know how her teacher does it, even with 17 or 18 students. But taking a fight?
That's right.
They're strong. I don't know if you know this.
I do. I work with kindergarten through second graders every Wednesday. They are scrappy bunch.
Well, and my son even made the comment the other day, trying to pick up my 3-year-old. And he's like, why is it she can make herself heavier if she doesn't want to do something? And I'm like, trust me, honey, I remember fighting you.
They do that.
To get your flu shot when you were like 5. So I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can't, I wouldn't be able to take any more than a kindergarten class. I would say 10, just because they can make themselves heavier. They're much scrappier, and they're more nimble and flexible. And I feel like they could take me down pretty easily. So I would say probably 10. Right. That sounds really weak. I mean, I work out, but I don't know. You get a whole bunch of 5 and 6-year-olds, and it might not last very long.
That's fair. I mean, it's an honest question. It's an honest answer. I mean, hopefully we never have to find that out, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can handle a lot of them as long as we're not fighting.
So you're going to talk your way out of it, is what you're saying.
You're
going to negotiate this. You're going to go in with some cookies and some snacks, maybe some Capri Suns and juice boxes.
I was going to say, if I have food that I can negotiate with, absolutely, I would have a lot more success, because it is impossible to negotiate with a 6-year-old.
It really is, because they don't care.
Very stubborn one.
That goes back to be kind. Like, we got to teach them to be kind, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, why don't you give people one last pitch about this fine event, and then I'll let you go, because your poor comms team saying we should only talk for 30 minutes. I love them, but come on.
Well, that's why I told him that even
you and I talking, that's not 30 minutes.
Yeah, no. I mean, we did that in a brief call on Monday. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, would love to see as many folks as we can get to National Plastics Conference. Opportunity to engage with the entire plastic supply chain, material suppliers, processors, recyclers, equipment manufacturers, brand owners. just and engage in a lot of really fantastic content. We're looking to for ways to incorporate audience participation and engagement during these sessions to make it the most meaningful and impactful as we can, but also to have some fun. You know, give back to the community that we're going to participate in the flip cleanup, join us for a magical evening at Epcot, you know, learn more about the association, learn more about our members, learn more about what we're doing as an industry. It's honestly probably the can't miss event this year for the association and the plastics industry is National Plastics Conference.
Yep. So if you want to shape the future, let's do it together. Go to nationalplasticsconference.org to get more information and register. It's totally worth it. Plus, you get to see Whitney. It'll be fun.
Thanks. Appreciate that. And my whole team. It's been a huge team effort. Lots of collaboration. Again, kind of the theme of, I feel like this year, you know, is collaboration. And it goes back to one of our core values of unity.
Yeah.
You know, creating that impact and creating unity across the supply chain and across the industry. So
if people have questions, how do they get a hold of you?
Email is probably a good way. So I don't know if you can drop that anywhere, but Taveras@plasticsindustry.org would be a great way. We also have a website, plasticsindustry.org, to learn more about what we do as an association. But yeah, those are probably the best ways to get in touch with us for any questions.
Love it.
Yeah. Awesome.
So you have now successfully completed your first live podcast.
Woohoo!
Was it as bad as you thought it would be?
No, because it was with you.
Well, that makes me feel good. That's nice.
Well, plus I'm not sitting on a stage having hundreds of eyeballs staring at me. So
yeah, it's kind of better than that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's nice.
I did notice that my face has matched my jacket the entire time though. So that's been fun.
I think it's just reflecting.
We'll go with that.
You're just glowing. You're just glowing. You've got that Whitney glow.
Oh, well, thanks,
your
Tony.
jacket, which is made out of recycled plastic.
That is correct. Always got to represent.
You got to represent.
Always making sure that making sustainable choices. So I also have a pair of shoes. I don't know if you've heard of the brand Rothy's, but they're also made of recycled plastic.
Okay.
And you can machine wash them. They're amazing.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, Whit, I'm going to let you go because I have monopolized enough of your day.
Sounds good. Well, it was so nice to chat with you, Tony. I appreciate the opportunity.
I forgot something. We have to pray. We always pray, but we've been gone for too long. Is there anything that you want prayer requests for?
I don't have one in particular off the top of my head.
Okay. I can handle that.
Okay.
In our church group, our pastor says, if you don't have anything that you want prayer request for, I will pray for your suffering so that you have something to pray for next time. I won't do that to you because that's not nice. Yeah. I'm like, please, no, don't.
Well, I guess I should be more specific that I don't have a public prayer request.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There you go. I told my wife every time she says nothing and people say, we'll pray for your suffering, I get hurt and then she suffers. So it's not, I'm like, please come up with something because I'm tired of getting hurt.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll pray for us and then we can go.
Sounds good.
Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this friendship that you've put in place and the way that we have been able to connect and assist each other in all kinds of ways. And part of that is feeding your people with knowledge, with information, with joy, and with food. Thank you for the technology you've created. And we just pray that you would be with us and that you would be with whoever was listening whenever they decide to listen. Even though we don't have a lot of requests to bring to you today, you know what we need and you know what's on our hearts. And before we even say a word, you are active and moving in all of those things. So thank you for knowing us, for loving us, caring for us. And thank you for your son, Jesus. And it's in his name we pray. Amen. All right. Now I can say, Whitney, thank you for always being a joy and a light and somebody I look forward to seeing at all the conferences for just being who you are all the time. So thank you for being here and give me some time and be my friend. It's awesome.
Oh, well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. And you're one of the easiest people to talk to. I've really appreciated our relationship and collaboration over the last couple of years and look forward to continuing it. So thank you so much.
It'll be in a couple weeks.
Couple weeks? Gosh, it's like a month away. Whew.
That's a couple weeks.
Yeah, feels like it.
Yep. All right. We'll see you later. Thanks, Whit.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right, everybody. That was Whitney Taveras from the Plastics Industry Association. She's a great person to get in touch with and contact with if you are wondering, like, should I be part of the Plastics Association? Why is this for me? What do I need to do? How do I engage? Just ask, right? Don't sit there wondering and think, oh, I'm just going to get a discount on NP like I did. Take advantage of what the membership actually offers and what they do, and find out how you can get involved, and don't just sit back on the couch and let other people do all the heavy lifting and the hard work. Get engaged, get involved, and help us to make this industry a difference maker in the world and in the communities and for the people around us. So on behalf of myself and Whitney, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care and God bless.